Okay. Good evening, everyone. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to first thank you all for coming tonight. Your input in this process is very important to us. Tonight, we have with us members of our governing body. We have Mayor Garnett Johnson with us, as well as Commissioner Turnley. There she is. Commissioner Barnhill Turnley is with us as well. So, before we even actually really get started, I need you guys to do me a favor. If you have your cell phone, can you scan that QR code up there? It's also some handouts with the QR code on it so that we can get you guys to give us some input into our budget process. But I see those phones in the air, so that's a good thing. If you can't put your phone in there and get that QR code, we'll give you a card. Hold your hand up and we'll bring you a card. Okay? We just need a couple of cards. Ms. Richardson's going to get you some cards. And we need you guys to participate and briefly take that budget survey. It's brief. I know how it is when you say surveys. People say, oh my God, who has all that time? I don't like to do surveys. But this is an important survey. The results of this survey will be shared with our governing body on August 26th and will be available on our website for the entire community to see. Now, if you have all those cell phones, I'm going to tell you what else I need from you tonight. And you're probably saying you're asking a heck of a lot for somebody who come to talk about this budget process. But let me tell you what else, because I know all of you on Facebook. Okay, if you're not on Facebook, and you might want to get on Facebook, all that good stuff, I need you to go to your Facebook page, find Augusta, Georgia Government, like and follow Augusta, Georgia Government. That is one way that you can find out everything about what's going on in the city government. You know, a lot of people say they don't feel like they've been informed. But that is one mechanism that we're using to put the word out, because we have stated to you, we want to be as transparent as possible. So we want to make sure every avenue that we can actually utilize to put the word out, we do. So please go ahead and do that. I know I didn't give y'all but 2 seconds to do both of those tasks, but please make sure that you do those things before you leave. All right, right, Mr. Howard? All right. So again, our goal is to be as transparent as we possibly can. In the coming weeks, you will be able to go out to our website and see the status of all our previous SPLOST projects. I know that's a big topic right now, our next SPLOST 9, which is something that the governing body is discussing. But a number of you have made comments that we want to see what's going on with the previous SPLOST. So we're going to make sure you actually get that information as well. And in January of 2026, we will launch a revised website, making it easier to get all the respective information you can get in regards to your government. We will also have a communications portal and a tool in place where you can actually register to get updates directly from the city. So we're looking at some great things to bring about in the government to make sure that you stay abreast of what we're doing. So, but tonight, we are talking budget. Our interim finance director, Mr. Tim Schreier, will present you with the budget information as we prepare for 2026. We will then attempt to address any budget concerns you may have by asking you to come forward to speak at the microphone that's sitting in the aisle. If we don't have the answer, we will make sure we get the answer. Ms. Stevens, if you look back over there, we have Ms. Stevens at the table. She is ready to take any of your information that you may have if you don't feel like your question is answered tonight. Our 311 manager, Ms. Kelly Walker, is back there to address any concerns that you may have had and give you any respective updates on outstanding items. So we always tell you to call 311. So we want to make sure that you have that ability to talk directly to a 311 representative tonight. So before we get started, and before I turn it over to Mr. Schreier, we're going to talk about our fiscal core values. These are the same fiscal core values that we presented to the governing body, administration presented. We're going to make sure we're going to be clear and honest. We're going to make sure we're strategic in looking at long-term approach on how we're going to address things in this community. And last but not least, we're going to make sure that we have some form of accountability for performance. That is a commitment that administration has made to our governing body. That is a commitment that we stay in here tonight to make sure that we continue to do that. We're also going to be, again, very transparent. This is your government, so you need to see how your government works. With all that being said, I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Tim Schreier to go over the budget process, and again, we'll address any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Good evening, everyone. As Ms. Allen said, I'm Tim Schreier. I'm the interim finance director. I've been with Augusta for 20 years, so just a little bit of time. Okay, the budget process. Contrary to popular belief, finance just doesn't make it up. It's a collaborative effort. It starts with the staff of my department and each and every department that we have working with their staffs to come up with a document that will present their needs and some wants for the upcoming year. Once we get all that information from the departments, my staff will work together with the administrator's office to come up with a recommendation. In October, the administrator presents to the commission her recommended budget. Then in November, we have discussions with the commission, taken to make some final adjustments, and the commission adopts the budget at the end of November, and then on January 1st, the budget starts. Just some of the timelines. July is when most of the departments start working on their due date was July 31st to enter all the data into our ERP system. And now my staff spends the next month working on that information. In August and September, we have community meetings. We also have meetings with all the departments so they can express their needs and wants so we can understand and make a better informed decision when we recommend to the commission. In October, as I said, the proposed budget is presented. In November, the commission votes and approves the budget. And then in January, the budget takes place. I'd like to just talk about our budget a little bit. Our budget, Augusta is a large operation. And we have this $1.4 billion budget. I know that sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But the thing that most people don't understand, or we don't emphasize enough, is out of that $1.4 billion, the general government, or the general fund, is only $207 million. And I say only, but it is $207 million, about 15% of the total budget. Now, out of that, the general fund, or general fund, is $126 million, and law enforcement is $79 million. So that's where your general fund dollar goes. Your ad valorem tax, you're going to be getting that. Your millage rate will be set this month, and you'll be getting your property tax bill, and that's where that money goes. Some of the other funds, we have special revenue funds, which is your fire department, some of the accountability courts, and that accounts for $140 million, or about 10%. So it's not just the general government. You also have your capital projects, which is SPLOST and road projects, your debt service. That's where we account for the new Coliseum. We borrowed $250 million. That's where we account for that. We also have the enterprise funds, which is your water and sewer, landfill, garbage collection, transit, and both airports. Our internal service funds are those funds that we need to take care of the general government. The biggest one of that is our health service, employee health care. We also have our fleet management and our risk. And then finally, trust and agency. And the biggest allocation for that goes to our pension plans. Again, this is just another graphic of how small, I realize that $200 million isn't small, but compared to the overall budget, the general fund is only 15% of that budget. Now, out of the general fund, that, as I said, there's law enforcement, there's also judicial. And judicial and public safety account for 55% of your general fund dollars. Public Works gets 4%, and Culture Recreation gets 8%. Housing and Development gets 1%. And then the general government, that's the mayor's office, the administrator's office, finance department, procurement, HR, that's 19% of the total budget. Now, the issue that we're facing this year is since COVID and we have the American Rescue Plan dollars, we've been using some of those funds for what the federal government called revenue replacement. It allows us to use some of those grant dollars that we received to offset the costs for the general government that we incurred. Unfortunately, that was not and is not a recurring source of revenues. It's run out. So this year we're starting the budget, unfortunately, with $7 million of revenue that we won't have, that we had this year, that we won't have next year. So that leads to the discussions of, can we raise revenues, or do we cut services, or do we do a combination of both? That's just the overview of the budget. Again, I'd like you to take our survey, and we'll open it up for questions now.
All right, we told you a lot, right? So let me say a couple of things, and just to touch on what Mr. Schreier said. So you constantly hear in the paper about our budget being $1.3 billion. And you're right, it is a little over $1.3 billion. But now you see what it actually is made of when it comes, what makes up the operational portion of it. So it's not like you have $1.3 billion allocated to the mayor's office, administration, finance. The operation of the organization is not where the money is, okay? When you look at it, we have, what, $200 or so million that's allocated to the general fund. And a majority of that goes to judicial and law enforcement, not the operations of the various other offices. So I know it always is said, cut the government. Well, I don't disagree. I wish it was an easy way to do that. But a number of things would have to happen, and it takes time as it relates to debt services, because every time you have an expense, you have to have a revenue, and they have to balance. So when we have an increased amount of debt services, that increases our budget, correct? I think everybody kind of understands that. So you have to bring in enough money to balance it, which means now we're showing a few $100 million that's in debt service. So there are a number of things that the governing body is doing to make sure that we do what we can to address some of these things. Because some of these things have been long-standing items. You know, we still have the Coliseum Authority, as he stated. That is something that I think the government, the citizens truly have supported. But guess what? That adds a $250 million cost to your budget because it's debt. So that debt actually counts as part of your entire budget because you have to account for all of your dollars. Now, once that debt is paid off, your budget decreases by the $250 million. So I just want to make sure that we clearly understand where some of these numbers are coming from, clearly understand actually what the general fund consists of. What I didn't mention earlier is we have a few of our department heads who are here today as well, to make sure that they can kind of hear some of the concerns that maybe you have. So with all of that being said, you'll hear us add and take away. We want to address it as best we can, some of your respective concerns. So, sir, I think we're ready now.
Hi, my name is Calvin Stevenson, and I'd just like to take a survey of the room of when people knew about this. My wife heard it on the radio this morning, and I talked to 2 other people here, and they heard it yesterday, and the other may have been the day before that. So how was we supposed to know about this meeting when it's not well publicized? And we can't depend on Facebook.
Yes,
Because
sir.
everybody ain't on Facebook, but it should have been on Channel 6 News for weeks so we would know, because this is a poor showing for something that's important like this. And so we want to be transparent. I think putting it in the news so everyone can know ahead of time, and we'll have more people here than what we currently have. Also, I want to say development in South Augusta. That's been a concern forever. And if we bring movie theaters, restaurants, that would create revenue. We have money here, but we have to go spend it in North Augusta. We got to go spend it in Columbia County. And so that's why we're lacking funds here in Richmond County. So we need to bring some economic development, not just housing, which we're getting that, not just apartments, we're getting that, and we're getting an influx of people, but we have nothing to keep people money in this area.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
You're welcome. So let me address that. We did send a press release. So our social media process, or our notifying process, again, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure you hear about it. Over 2 weeks ago, we sent the press release out to all news stations, all media. Now, unfortunately, we can't tell them what to show or what to say on the news. I did see it on a couple of the stations the other day. Also, we had it on Facebook. We also sent it to everybody that we could actually send information to, we do it. And that's why, again, in January, we're going to start where you can register, and every time we have something, it'll come directly to your email. But I apologize, sir, that they did not, a lot of the stations may not have published it, or, but we did send it out. We definitely gave enough notice. And I don't disagree with the development portion. We are looking, we have our economic development department or agency that is looking for various things to bring to Augusta. There are some things too that we're going to have to change in how we do things. And I think there's something that's going to have to require a little more conversation. Thank you. Anybody else? I see in your hand, ma'am. Did you want to?
I just wanted to say that if you go to augustageorgia.gov, you can sign up and they'll send you the text alerts. So I got mine 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay. Everybody don't want to go there.
But you can go to the website and it'll give you the alert. I'm not too tech savvy, but I can go to the website and it'll send you alert everything that's going on within Augusta government. My question is the 311. I've been calling, trying to get them to, I don't know if they're responsible for the street lights, not the traffic lights. They put 2 up right there on Windsor Spring, the intersection, the Tobacco Road. There's one near the Walgreens, and then there's one near the Parkers. But they still don't have the lighting for the BP station, and then I think it's the Dollar Tree. So it's still dark over there when you're traveling at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you have that one? Can you come up here, Kelly? So let me explain a little bit about 311 too, because 311 sometimes they get a hard sell in the community. And I'm going to be here publicly to defend 311. 311 is merely the ones who's supposed to take the calls submit it to the departments who's supposed to be responsible, and those departments are supposed to either reach out to you so that that ticket could be closed out, and when you call 311 back, they can look in the system and say, yes, ma'am, that item has been closed out, you should have received a closeout ticket, are you satisfied with what was done? Unfortunately, that has not been happening, and that's something that we're trying to do a better job of. They did good. Shh. Good. Let me tell you something about Ms. Walker. She'll stay on it. And she's going to make sure I know when people are not staying on what they need to be doing. And so we're working diligently to make sure that things get done. Kelly?
To answer your question, I think you said Windsor Spring Road at Tobacco Road. And that area, you won't find city-maintained streetlights out this far. That is going to be your utility company, your power company, whether that be Jefferson Electric, Planters Electric is out here as well as Georgia Power. If it's Georgia Power, 311 can submit that on your behalf, but the city of Augusta does not have jurisdiction to control when those streetlights are repaired. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, I got it.
Mr. Gaines, I know you by heart now.
My name is Eric Gaines, and I guess my question that I have in reference to the budget for next year is just how much of the budget is actually going to go towards the infrastructure here in the city? And then also I know the previous SPLOST, I don't know how much of that has been dedicated to the infrastructure, but I know that's a huge issue that we have here in Augusta as a whole. So that's my question.
Good question, Mr. Gaines. Augusta is a very old city, and we have a lot of aging infrastructure that need to be addressed. Unfortunately, it's been limited dollars in what's been able to get done, the things that need to be done in, as far as our infrastructure. Even with SPLOST 9, you know, we had our director of engineering ask for 300-something million. Well, of course, we know that couldn't make it because we had another department asking for over 300-something million, then another department, and then next thing I know, the total request for SPLOST 9 was over $1 billion. I don't think that would have passed. I don't think you guys would have voted on it. So those are one of the things and one of the reasons we're making sure that we really comb through every previous SPLOST to make sure those projects that were there are being addressed. Some of the problems that we had with previous SPLOST is because when they used to approve the SPLOST, in some situations, you know, you cut certain amounts. So somebody might ask for 30 million to get something done. But in order to get it to a certain place on the, out of the SPLOST list, they might have cut 30% of it. Well, guess what? That means you don't have enough money to actually fund the project and what needs to be done. So what we've done now is for SPLOST 9, we want to make sure that any project that's on that list gets done during that SPLOST time and not be reduced or cut back, because if you're not going to do the whole entire project, you don't need to even have it on the list. So we're doing a different approach than what we've done in previous years. So that's why some of those infrastructure, good intentions, you know, the goal was to get it done, but unfortunately, when things get, you know, cut, negotiated, things like that, you don't have enough money to do what you set out to originally do. And so now, that's why, again, we're combing through our SPLOST, seeing what projects we can get done, what things we need to combine, how we need to do that legally, because SPLOST has certain requirements that you have to meet, and then making sure anything that we put in SPLOST 9, if it gets supported by the voters, that whatever you put in there in the infrastructure will get done as we promised to get done. I hope that addresses, okay. Anybody else?
I just want to give kudos to 311. I'm the president for the HOA over in Manchester Diamond Lake, and I have the app for 311. I've uploaded information to 311. 4 or 5 days later, the job is completed.
That's right.
You're doing a superb job, 311. Thank you.
All right, that's the third thing. I told you 1, survey, 2, Facebook, like, follow, and 3, download the app for 311. All right. Ms. McCrary?
Yes, hi, City Administrator. 311 itself does an excellent job in getting the calls through where they need to go. The issue that I have is with code enforcement. With our covenant, and I live in a subdivision out here, it doesn't cover some of the things that are relevant to today, like the tree trunks that are still in people's yards from Hurricane Helene, or over vegetation, and the grass is just too tall or whatever. Some things we can't cover, we don't have in our covenant to cover. So the executive board and I are in our association. We have been submitting things to My Augusta 311 relating to those. And lately, it's been as soon as we submit it, the same day is closed. And I'm thinking like, I know the inspector is not coming out here looking at these properties. Now, one thing that we do is that we add pictures in there to make it more visible so they can see ahead of time. But I'm not quite sure if that's being used to say, hey, majority of the things that I just put in this weekend, today on Monday, they're closed, no violation. That makes me question not 311, but question code enforcement, okay? The other thing that someone mentioned was economic development for South Augusta. I know there's a plan for downtown. Downtown is expanding, it's looking great. Kudos to all of those involved with what's going on with downtown. But one thing that we need desperately out here in South Augusta is a plan for here. Now, I know that there's a $25 million proposal that may go on SPLOST 9 for November, if it gets past the commissioners, about expanding our sewer system out here for other businesses to be able to tie in. We desperately need that out here because, as someone stated earlier, we are always having to go to the other side of town, whether it's north or west, for entertainment or dinner or what have you. And we wanted to be able to do that in our own backyard. So that's another thing. And I think that's it.
Okay, Ms. McCrary, so let's address everything. I see hands clapping. You're right, that should not be taking place if someone is putting in a 311 ticket and it just immediately closed. I would suspect something too. Something is not being done. So we're gonna make sure that we look into those, Ms. McCrary. Ms. Kelly, Kelly has something to say.
To address that, if it closes out immediately, it is likely a duplicate. Do understand that if the offices have already received that request, putting in a duplicate request will only slow down the process. Okay. 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 And afterwards, or whenever you have a second, come over and let's talk a little bit more about it. Thank you.
All right, and one more thing. What was the other thing, Ms. McCrary? That's right. That's right. So she wants a plan, and I'll be honest with you, I've always said this, we have several agencies or groups that do great work for the city of Augusta, and they develop great plans for the city of Augusta. But the city of Augusta needs its own plan. The city of Augusta needs to be leading when it comes to the plan. What does the city of Augusta government want to see for Augusta? Not just for certain areas, not for, downtown, South Augusta, East Augusta, West Augusta. It needs to be a comprehensive plan. And so that is something that I know that the governing body is working on. I'm not going to say it's going to happen tomorrow, Ms. McCrary, because I don't want you holding me to it, because I know I'll see you outside of this meeting and you're going to bring it up. But I do think that it's something that they're working toward. I will tell you that. Yes, ma'am.
Is there anyone here from Parks and Recs?
Yes, ma'am. We do have our director here, Ms. Williams.
Oh, she stepped out?
Okay.
Well, let me know when she stepped back in, because these are questions for her.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Jones.
I have in my hand a list that I have worked on since probably 2018, which was before the pandemic. After the computer hack, I had to resubmit these work orders. I've resubmitted these work orders. So we're talking since 2018, roughly. I've addressed this issue of the raggedy streets in Augusta. In particular, uneven manway covers. Big manway covers, small ones. As I drive through locations in the county, and just even on Golden Camp Road, where it was resurfaced recently, they have a big manway that is still about that deep that it's not level with the road. If you travel on 5th Street, since 5th Street has been remodeled and resurfaced, the new manways on 5th Street are immaculate. You can see that they are level with the surface. Not hard to see because they have the white concrete around the top of them. That's the way uneven manway covers in the city and the county should be done. I have given this list to the engineer department. I've talked to the commissioners well over 5 times since 2018. Uneven manway covers. We all have nice cars. We don't want our front end alignment tore up or our belts and our tires broken, or else people going to file claims against the city, which is an added another expense that people going to say, well, I hit that, it wasn't fixed right, my car's tore up. Another point addressing the gentleman's issue about notification of this meeting, I didn't see it until today on Channel 6. I think in the future, if you send out flyers a month ahead of time or a week, 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, drop flyers in the mailboxes. Let the post office put the flyers in the mailboxes, because to me, media is biased towards Augusta and what I've seen in their coverage. So I think for future meetings, notifications dropped in the mailbox might get more people here in this type of meeting, because these are important. I get on C-SPAN in the morning when I can for Washington Journal, and that's a national show. And I addressed the housing crisis the other day at the meeting they had on Golden Camp at Brigham Center the other night. People need to get ready for cuts in Section 8 money. Where are you going to put people when they lose their Section 8? Because the budget, the proposal coming out of Washington, they're getting ready to cut. And my last comment is getting people to submit, like I have, work orders to fix these raggedy streets. That's part of infrastructure. The longer you wait, the more it's going to cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Yes, ma'am.
I just got a quick question I want to ask. I know y'all have this cleanup, but what do y'all decide areas that's cleaned up? I live in South Augusta area. When you go down Gordon Highway on up, ain't no cleaning up getting done there. So I'm just want to know where do y'all decide which area y'all go clean up and pick up trash? That's all. Because South Augusta shoulder's not getting picked up, and I know Gordon Highway looks terrible.
Okay.
From going all the way to the old mall on back.
Mr. Mayor, is that your cleanup initiative, or?
I think it is. That's called Operation City Cleanup in conjunction with not only the mayor's office, but the sheriff's office, the solicitor general and state court. The areas are got to determined by the marshals and the sheriff's department based on them riding around. But I assure you, the intent is to touch every part of Augusta, and it has been pretty much almost every part of Augusta, with the exception of the far south side, and I assure you that we're working there. The workers start at 8 in the morning and they work until noon. So if you have an area that you see that really needs to be targeted, all you have to do is call the mayor's office, or you could easily call the sheriff's office. Easiest way is to call the mayor's office, and we'll coordinate addressing any street that you may need, okay? That's an easy request. Every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., there's a crew cleaning up, with the exception when there's inclement weather or rain. So thank you.
Any other budget questions? I know I'm giving y'all some opportunity to vent some other concerns, right?
Right.
You said while I got their attention, I'm going to tell them everything I need to tell them.
Thank you for this time. The Regency Mall. Now, I know a lot of money was supposed to be procured by Augusta because whoever owned that wasn't paying the insurance on that, the taxes. They wasn't paying the taxes. Have we received any taxes from whoever it is that someone's up north that still owns that area? What's the, because that's a great money maker. If we can get them to resolve that issue, pay their taxes, that goes to our budget, but then we can use that to create some type of great sports complex. My thought process is soccer field, swimming. We can bring all types of entertainment. We let the ball field go over to South Carolina. So if we can use that Regency Mall, get those people to pay whatever money, and you can tell me if they have or not, but that would go towards our budget. But that's a great moneymaker right there, if we can resolve that issue. I don't know if it's resolved or not.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have paid their taxes. They keep their taxes current.
So we own that property now?
No, sir. We don't own that property. No, sir. They still own it, and that's why they pay their taxes. But yep, they own it. Yep.
We need to do something with it.
I don't disagree. I think it is a prime spot. I remember the days when you rode down Gordon Highway, you went to that Regency Mall, you was really in something. And you enjoyed it, and you didn't have to worry about some of the things we worry about now. But it's been quite some time that it's sat vacant, and unfortunately, the city has not gained any ownership over that property.
One budget item just came to mind is emergency funds set up for natural disasters like Hurricane Eileen. We're going to have hurricanes every year.
Don't say that, Mr. Jones.
Y'all better watch the Weather Channel and show that it's happening. Hurricanes come off the coast of Africa. They come in the Gulf of Mexico. So hopefully we don't get none of those storms, but it's subject to happen.
You're right.
So on a budgetary item, I think we might want to create another account for emergency relief funds, because you don't know how much money the Fed's going to help us.
So we do have a fund balance, and that's to be utilized for emergency needs, and that's what we used during Hurricane Helene.
And especially with them in Washington want to eliminate FEMA. Hurricanes will come.
We're going to cross our fingers and hope it doesn't come.
And hope we don't have another ice storm.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Mr. Jones, don't say anything about ice storm or hurricane, because I was standing in the same position during both. It's not an easy thing to get through. So that's it. We did have Ms. Williams come in. There she is.
Is it in the budget to put the elevator in the shaft that was built in this building? How long this building been here and they still don't have an elevator? That was before your time.
Oh, okay. She's going to respond right there.
Yes, ma'am, we working on that.
What?
We are putting it
Have
into.
a new building by now.
Okay.
Second question, was there money in the budget when you did Brigham's gym to do the pool? that pool is down at least 3 times a month. I don't want to drive to the aquatic center to go to the pool.
So we working on the pool, it was some parts that needed to be turned in.
No, not parts, because them parts ain't working. The parts must have been recycled, because every time they fix one part, another part goes down. Pool is out. When you had us out of the pool, out of that area, why didn't they do the pool then? Okay.
Good question.
Common sense.
All right, so let me.
I can get with her after the meeting.
Yes. But let me address some of the things. Miss Williams, you been here how long? 7 months? Okay. She been here 7 months, so it's before her time too. But I just, all right, it's before her time too. So a lot of things, we have not done a great job at, and maintenance is one of them. And you're right. When it comes to things breaking down, we should be able to be responsive. We should be able to have parts in hand that's necessary to fix those things and do it. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't. I'm just going to be very honest and very transparent. That's some of the problems that we're facing. That's some of the problems and challenges that we're facing in our budget. That's some of the problems that we're facing in our SPLOST requests because of things that we have not done such a great job in maintaining as far as our facilities, our recreational facilities, our governmental facilities. We have just grounds maintenance. I know I heard about somebody talking about the grass is as tall as them. I hear it every day. We have citizens call us every day complaining. I'm sure the mayor hears it all the time about things. We are trying to do better at that. We are trying to be more accountable for that because that's what you deserve. Now, I will say, y'all want me to be honest, right? Some of the expectations of what this government should be doing are up here. I've said it at various budget meetings with the governing body. This is how much we want to invest in those things. That's a problem because when you want your expectations to be up here, you have to make sure we have the funding to take care of those things. So sometimes they're not matching each other. Now some of y'all are saying, well, I'm gonna tell you something. I need y'all to get some of this other stuff done with the money you're making, right? I see the young lady in the back saying, oh, you better make do with what you got. But what we're trying to do is do that. We're trying to make do with what we have. We're trying to go through and make sure we're being accountable to you. Because that's who we need to be accountable to, you. We work for you. I hear it all the time. You work for the governing body, you work for us, we the citizens. We pay your paycheck. Boy, you don't know how many times I hear that. We pay your paycheck. You better do what we ask you to do. So one of the things y'all asked me to do is be very honest and very transparent. And I'm just telling you, there are some things that we're going to have to do a little differently, a lot differently than what we've been doing in the past few years. Mr. Wimberly.
How we doing today?
I'm good.
I just want to clarify something. The young lady was talking about the infrastructure and you talked about the sewage. That announcement that you saw is actually for the the industrial area. The sewage we need is the one that they keep us telling us that the reason we don't have any growth over here and we don't have the infrastructure like along Tobacco Road so we can get those big box stores that don't have to go on sewage. That's the infrastructure sewage that we need brought over here.
So you're right. You're right. It's a connection now. What they're looking at for the 25 million is what's necessary for the other to take place. So we have funding in SPLOST for not only that growth out there at the business, but also for residentials as well and other agencies. So we have both of them in the SPLOST 9.
But I just wanted to make sure that they knew that I believe it was 25
million, yes,
that
sir.
25 million was not for our regular infrastructure stuff.
Yes, sir.
We did have utility director come out and gave us a picture of what we need on Tobacco Road.
That's right.
And it's very, it's a lot.
That's right.
Okay. So that's what we need.
That's right. And yes, sir, we did make sure that utilities did include some of that in our SPLOST 9. Yes, ma'am.
So for clarification, the $25 million for the sewer system is over there where the industrial park is.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it going to expand to Tobacco Road to help businesses come out that area? Is that the plan?
So what we have for that 25 million is going to be for the expansion that's necessary for all of it. So then we also have included a few million, I think it was 10 million, 10, 15 million from our utilities department, because I know we have discussed with you guys in the past having connections to sewer, where some people don't have connections to sewer. They have their own sewer systems that are not associated with the city of Augusta, that as well. So that allows us to expand out there and put funds out there to address South Augusta. So yes, ma'am, all of that is included, and that's needed for the 25 million in order for us to attract businesses. I guess is what I'm saying.
So when you were talking about Tobacco Road, that's the residential part. It's still all included to get us where we're wanting to go, is what I'm hearing.
It's necessary for the growth, yes, ma'am. And I can get you some more information on that, too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir?
Hi, I'm not sure on what land is for residential or commercial building, like in South Augusta, but I noticed whenever you land at Augusta Regional Airport, you don't find a hotel until you make it to Washington Road. Is there any thoughts on hotels being in this area for families that travel in?
Not that I have been made aware of. Years ago, I think it used to be hotels out there, to be honest. Was it a hotel out there years and years ago? I was a little kid then. Don't want to tell about my age, but it was a long time ago there were hotels out there. Mr. Howard, no. But I have not heard about any development, if, to be totally honest with you. Any recent development, I don't know, did you, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Turnley? It was at the airport a long time ago. Okay. So no, sir, there's no plans at this time. Now, that's a great idea. If you want to build one, if you want to be a developer and investor in that area, I don't think anybody in here going to fight about it. All right, okay. All right then. Get his number. Make sure you get it before we leave out of here. Okay? Anybody else with any questions? Sir, did I see? Yes, sir.
And you were speaking of a hotel. I'm also one of the commission on the airport board there. We also are talking about that too, about a hotel. We're looking at, the space, but we're talking about that. But the question I had about the coastal waste and recycling, I think everyone got information in the mail about that, if you're gonna need a recycler, that means you gotta pay a little bit more money there. So I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of that. Thank you.
Now, you just wanted to take down the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, any questions on coastal while we're here? Because I know y'all want to show out. Go on. He tried.
So, we're gonna pay more for this service for the same one-day pickup?
Down the okay. She asked was we're going to charge more for the service with the one-day pickup. I'll be honest with you, the decision has not been determined by our governing body. And I will say this, our governing body is not happy about even thinking about charging more money for one service. I've not been getting any great feedback from our governing body other than that's not happening. So y'all better figure out something. And then I'm sitting up there saying, well, we got to figure out something with this budget too, because I'm trying to figure out how we're going to pay for that extra money and what we're doing as far as the waste haulers. Initially when this program was started in 2013, and I'll encourage y'all, anytime y'all want to know about anything, please come to our commissioner meetings or watch them online. I know some of you can't get there, but just watch them. We talked about the waste haulers and what we were looking at and what we were facing. What we have is, unfortunately, it started in 2013, and it was supposed to have a small incremental increase each year. You know how you do your utilities. I know some of y'all scream about that. Every year in April, when y'all get that 3% increase, I remember because I used to have the programming in the system. You get that 3% increase every year. But that takes care of making sure that any rates or anything that's increased as far as providing that service is covered, right? We know everything doesn't stay the same price. right? Everything, inflation is affecting all of us. No matter how we wanna look at it, it is. Everything is going up. So since 2013, we were supposed to get 3% or CPI every year. We never did it. We never followed through on it. So guess what happens now? When we don't have those funds, those ARPA funds, American Rescue Funds that Mr. Schreier was talking about, which was something that we could use to offset the debt that the government was facing. When you don't have that $70-something million anymore, where does the money come from? So now you got to figure out, you know, if we would have been doing it, we'd have been okay. It would have taken care of it. Now, I don't agree with the cutting it down from 2 to 1. That's a whole nother argument. But as far as the money itself, we would have enough funding to come in to make sure that we address those changes. And unfortunately now, here we are in 2025, trying to figure it out. So I think it's a lot of things that the governing body, and I've told them on several occasions, they have a lot of tough decisions to make because of decisions that have been made in the past with good intentions at that time as well. We have to figure out now what's the best way to move forward with a lot of things. So you've heard, we got that, we have the street lights, the millage, and nobody in here want a tax increase, right? Did anybody raise their hand for a tax increase? I think the lady right there with the folded hands is trying to show me she wants one. Okay. No, we've always been going with the rollback. Your assessment may have gone up, but it wasn't the millage didn't go up. The millage didn't change. For the past, what, 9 years, Tim?
Last time we raised the mill rate was
2014. See, I'm trying to keep up with these numbers. That was the last time the mill rate increased. 2014. No millage increase at all, no tax increase. We've been doing the rollback every year. But guess what? Now, y'all been hearing on the news all the things that we've been facing because, again, the governing body wants to be very transparent with you. Y'all heard we had some situations with our Housing and Community Development Department. That's an unexpected expense that we're going to have to cover. We have our health care. He mentioned that. Those have increased. We have our prison and our inmate care has increased because, as you can imagine, the sheriff has a lot more inmates now. And when you're dealing with mental health and you're dealing with various illnesses, his medical costs have increased unexpectedly. These are not things we budgeted for. So you're talking about over $10 million of things that were not budgeted for 2025. So of course the governing body is saying, you better not bring me a tax increase. So that might mean, see the mayor shaking his head, that might mean we have to go into that rainy day fund that we were talking about, Mr. Jones, to take care of it. But eventually, we want to do what Columbia County knows do. We want to have those nice restaurants that they have in North Augusta. We, as a government, as a community, and I'll say this, the government, we have to do things differently too. We have to make sure that you're truly informed on what's going on so that you can help make some of these decisions that we need to make. Because it's a lot of tough decisions. This year is probably one of the worst years for our governing body because a number of things have hit them at the same time. So again, it's going to be a lot of tough decisions on the budget and making sure that what we recommend looks good and gets us what we need, and we're doing what we need to do to be efficient. I've heard a lot of people say, what do y'all do? I see some people driving trucks, don't do a thing. Well, I can assure you that I'm riding out there myself to see if I see any trucks and see if somebody's sitting in it not doing a thing. Because we have to make people accountable. So that is one thing, again, I go back to, you'll hear me always say accountability and transparency is what we're truly working on. But you don't change a culture in 2 days. You don't change a culture. I thought it'd be changed in 5 months. I was fooled because I've been here almost 10 months now. And it ain't changed. It's getting there, and we're working toward it. And we're going to get there, I can assure you, because the governing body is holding me accountable to make sure we get there. So we're going to make sure that we be very accountable to you. Yes, ma'am.
the article said that, are they gonna come out and collect the people who decide not to recycle? They're gonna get those bins in November?
Yes, ma'am.
So right now, when the trash is picked up in that extra bin, they just taking it to the dump. It's not being recycled, right?
Yes, ma'am. They're going to take that extra bin with them. Yes, ma'am. Any other budget questions? We got time for a couple of more questions. Any more budget questions? Anything else anybody wants to get off their chest? I don't know if I can address it, but I'll try.
I heard the lady said something about the Henry Brigham swimming pool, but what I want to ask, have y'all really rolled around Diamond Lakes? The only park out here is slides for children. And they've been out here a while. I brought my grandchildren out here to play, and all they can do is slide off 2 different slides. They're now 14, and we still have nothing but slides.
Let me tell you this, and you need to talk to Ms. Williams. We do have monies in SPLOST 9 that's going to address each one of these facilities. Again, we have not done the best job. I think we've done with what we had, the resources we had. But that is something in SPLOST 9 to make sure that we try to address some of the needs and get some of these. I'll be honest with you. When Ms. Williams came on board, I said, Ms. Williams, we're going to look at some of these facilities. And I'll be honest, some of them I didn't even know was a park, because all I seen was a bench. Some places I seen one swing, and I don't know how that's a park, but it's called the park. Then I've gone to some that to me looks almost like a jail, because the doors are green and the building is yellow, and I understand there was a sale going on the paint colors during that time when they was building all these facilities. I don't know if that was true or they were just pulling my leg. But it's a number of our facilities that just don't look right, that need to be redone. I go in Carrie Mays, I go to McDuffie Woods. When I used to hang out in McDuffie Woods and tutor and work with some of the students, and I look at the floor warped, I'm like, what in the world? We have a lot to do, and there's funding that's been set aside in SPLOST 9 to support those endeavors. So Ms. Williams is back. We're gonna make sure Ms. Williams can tell you something that's gonna get you more than 2 slides. Ask Mr. Howard, isn't that right, Mr. Howard? All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Since you mentioned Ms. Williams, I was not going to mention her. I just want to know that in the parks, have we now included the locking down?
Yes, sir. That's included in SPLOST 9 too.
Okay, very good, very good. I'm glad to hear it, because I can't do anything with slides and whatnot. I got some great grandkids that I love to go out there and hear them cheering them, and they enjoying themselves. But that locking down provide a lot of peace and comfort for us elderly people. We just need some modern laboratories, some decent benches. Just get rid of some of the raccoons and things, and spray and make sure it's not wasp nests underneath there. So if you got it on the list, I'm grateful for that. 311, sometimes you have to call them more than once, and I find out that the order went out usually to the landfill. They doing their job, and I appreciate it. But I really have more questions than anything else. When we started with the countywide trash service, which we needed, I believe that annual cost was $180 on the tax bill. We had twice a week pickup. I'll be the first to admit, ours was on Wednesdays and Fridays. When I pulled my trash can out there, I would look down the street. Only half of the neighbors had the trash cans out there. If I broke down the cardboard boxes, folded the 2-liter bottles, I realized that I only needed to take mine out there once a week. I wasn't the only one that knew that. So it went from twice a week to once a week, but the price went up. Now, that's a mystery. I still don't understand that. Okay? The price went up. And now it's recognized that it needs to go up again. So my understanding is not increasing, it's really lessening. But I know it got to be somewhere in the number. The other thing, here again a question. There was a hot issue about housing something, $6 million. Was that ever resolved?
We're still working through that right now, sir.
All right, I know we'll get the answer whenever we get it. And one last thing. Augusta is an old city. I think it's a little older than I am. Infrastructure is old. Whenever something goes wrong, they dig up the street, they patch it the best they can. But it's crumbling. There's so much need to be done. I talked to some of these guys that are working on the utilities, and they said, wow, you all ain't got no idea how much money you really need to get parts of the county like the newer parts of the county. So I want to ask you a hypothetical. We all want this Rolls-Royce car, but I'm working out of a Volkswagen budget. And the current budget just says $1.3 billion.
Yes, sir.
If you could put a number, an estimate, on all the rightful things that we tell you we want, and those things you need, what would that number be in addition to 1.3? What do you think it would be?
Well, you know, different funding resources. So we have a funding source from SPLOS. So SPLOS would probably have to be more than what we're putting in now. But we know we're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna get support for
I'm talking about the bottom line now.
Yeah, the
This
bottom
is
line,
just hypothetical.
hypothetically, it would be billions to get us where we need to. So you have to take it one step at a time, and you just have to be accountable for what gets done.
So when you say the budget is here and the resources are here, you really mean the budget is here if we, okay, all right.
I think we can do it all kind of ways, but the one thing, they're not doing this. That's exactly right, sir. They're not doing that. All right, I'm gonna ask the mayor or Ms. Commissioner Turnley if she has, okay. Mr. Mayor, do you have any comments?
Thank you guys so much for coming out. I tell everybody this government is your government, and it's important that you know how we spend every penny that we collect as a result of your taxes or your SPLOS pennies. We're just here to try to be true stewards of those dollars. So thank you guys for coming out and providing your input. And I'll yield the floor to the commissioner from the 4th. Commissioner Turnley? Commissioner Don Clark? Thank you. Madam Administrator, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yes, sir. Again, did you take the survey? All right, I like to hear that. Did you go to our Facebook page? All right, I need y'all to follow the Facebook page. And thirdly, we need y'all to stop by and talk to Miss Kelly about the 311 app, okay? Anytime y'all have any concerns, please make your government accountable. Ask us. We do work for you. You are the ones that we work for. We need to be accountable to you. So hold us to being accountable. Thank you again tonight for being here. I think I have somebody raising a hand. Oh, Commissioner Lewis. I didn't recognize Commissioner Lewis got his hat on back there. I see you, Commissioner Lewis. Thank you, Commissioner Lewis, as well for attending. Is there anything else? Anybody else? Again, thank y'all for coming tonight. We appreciate your support. I want to see you in the commission chambers when we start talking about what we're going to do. I want y'all to be just as involved. This room should be packed because we complain, but then we don't show up when you get the opportunity to complain and voice your opinion. So please pass this word on. We have our next meeting on Wednesday at Warren Road, 6 o'clock. So if people couldn't make it tonight, They can also make it on Wednesday and give us some feedback. Again, thank you all for everything. Appreciate you.